just in time for the start of the regular season. One of the NFL's starting quarterbacks has picked up a new mega contract. Was it Lamar Jackson? Did he sign on the dotted line in Baltimore? No. How about Justin Herbert? Did the Chargers give him a surprise extension? Wrong again. Maybe Joe Burrow in Cincinnati? No, didn't happen. Did you see? Perhaps not. Happened early in the day on Thursday. We learned that the Broncos have agreed to terms with Russell Wilson. Russell with muscle. He gets a 5-year contract for $245 million. Now the deal includes $165 million. So he won the Colorado lottery, $165 million guaranteed, and will, in theory, keep Russell Wilson in Denver for 7 seasons in total by the time the contract runs out. Of course, these contracts often have escape hatches and are not what they appear to be upon further review. But should he play out this contract, which is highly unlikely, either he's better than the contract and he will want more money, or he underachieves and then the team will not want to pay him the money. Very rarely do you end up playing out the contract. But again, if he does, it would go through the 2028 season in terms of average annual value, which is very important for the nerds, AAV. The value of the deal puts him just a hair behind Aaron Rodgers as the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So let us discuss the question: why did Russell Wilson pounce on this Bronco extension? He hasn't even played a game yet in Denver. What if he doesn't like it? He agreed to the extension. So I've got Stables, elementary school playground, and anomaly. And we'll tie all of these things together, and we are going to make Rocky Mountain oysters, which I ate a couple years ago. I lost a bet, and I ate them. They're disgusting. So horrible. All right, so we'll go here first. Russ, he did not have to blink twice. From the player's perspective, this is a no-brainer. We are talking about a 33-year-old quarterback. 33 years old. He hasn't even settled into his new home in Colorado. The Broncos are saying, you know what? We're going to make it rain. He turns 34 years old in November. Now, I understand there are quarterbacks like Tom Brady who are playing well or have played well up until their mid-40s. We'll see how Brady does this year. But that's the exception to the rule. And if you look at the comps, historically, quarterbacks, when they get to their late 30s, and not 34 per se, but once you get around 36, 37, in that area, you see a dramatic decline. It's like an elevator going down, 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 down based on performance. So the Broncos are betting that Wilson is going to be outside of the norms. And he is the beneficiary also, let's not kid ourselves here, the new ownership. You buy a team, the first way to put out the olive branch, if you're the owner of a team in a different city here, is to say, you know what, I'm going to flex here my Walmart pocketbook, and I'm going to pay the quarterback we just traded for. And as they say in the stables, if you're Russell Wilson, you never look a gift horse in the mouth, right? This deal was hand-delivered on a room service cart. It is money for nothing, and the pigskin is for free. Russ is getting paid a premium, and he's not getting paid for what he's done in Denver because he hasn't done anything in Denver. He's getting paid for what he did in Seattle over the last decade or so, and he, having not done diddly squat in the Mile High City because he hasn't had the opportunity, he's just basking in the afterglow of the honeymoon period with the new owner and all that, and there have been no bad passes in orange and blue, no bonehead interceptions, zero brain farts. Now, those things are all bound to happen, but for better or worse, he's decided to renew his wedding vows with his new girlfriend, even though he hadn't been married to them very long. Just got eloped a few months ago, and now they're signing some paperwork. Now, part B of this, how confident are you that Russ will lead Denver back to the promised land? So we are ambivalent on the Broncos. Like, Russ gives the Denver Broncos a seat at the grown-ups table. But going into this, he is the third best quarterback in the AFC West. Right? Based on performance last season, you take Mahomes number one over his career, and you take Justin Herbert, then Russ would be third, Carr would be fourth in the division. But in terms of the Super Bowl, which is the promised land, we are agnostic when it comes to the Super Bowl for the Broncos, and I'll tell you why. He has yet to take a team on his back and carry them to the Super Bowl. And people say, well, what about Seattle? The glory days of the Seahawks were built not on Russell Wilson. They were built on the Legion of Boom. And that team was dominant because of Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and the other members of that defense. That's how they got to back-to-back Super Bowls. That's how they were able to win a Super Bowl. And then they, of course, lost because Russ, we know what happened there with the famous interception at the goal line. But during the period of time that the Legion of Boom was flexing their muscles, in the early part of this last decade, from 2012 to 2015, in that period of time, the Seahawks led the NFL in scoring defense. They allowed the fewest points scored each year for 4 straight seasons. And Wilson, he was in the stagecoach riding shotgun. Right? He was there, and he was along, enjoying the run of success. He had less than 30 touchdown passes both of those Super Bowl years. Seattle was 8th in points in 2013. They were 10th in offense in 2014. And so you can't say that he led a team to the Super Bowl because he was kind of there, but he wasn't the reason they got there. He got there because of defense. Now, as for his tenure in Denver, sight unseen here, it's hard to imagine that Russell Wilson is going to be a bust. We're not betting on him being a bust. The NFL, over the years, has greased the wheels for the quarterback. Every rule that has been implemented, with few exceptions, is designed to enhance offense. Chicks dig touchdowns. Fantasy nerds love touchdowns. Gamblers love touchdowns. Regardless, all right, here's the quagmire, if you will, for Russell Wilson. He has established a reputation that precedes him. There's a certain cadence to Russ. And I don't believe that's going to change in his mid-30s here. I would expect similar results to what he did in Seattle. And that means, I know it's a different style they're going to play in Denver, so it's a little different. But Russ has been something like you'd see at an elementary school playground. He is the epitome of a seesaw. There are ups and there are downs. There are peaks and there are valleys. And there is a reason he has never sniffed MVP consideration, despite getting off to some unimaginably good starts. And the reason is he's inconsistent. And every time he plays well, you're like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? And you look at the back of the cardboard, the back of the football card. If you go on the Pro Football Reference page, it tells the story. Right? Go to the numbers. Last season, the first 5 games, he had 10 touchdowns and 1 interception for Seattle. The next 7 games, he had a total of 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and his numbers were down across the board. In 2020 is the most gaudy example of this. The first 5 games, Russell Wilson was running away with the MVP. He had 19 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 2020, the first 5 games. The next 7 games, he had 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And that's been the same cadence, rat-a-tat-tat, for Russell Wilson throughout his time in Seattle. So I don't expect him to change his spots now going to Denver. Now the question is, are the Broncos going to be good enough defensively and on special teams where you can help Russ out? Because if Russ has to continue to play at a high level all year and only have a couple of bad games, good luck. He typically has a stretch of half the season almost where he is not that good. He's a stumble bump. For half of the year, he's great, and then the other half, All right, last word here. So what does the Russell Wilson contract extension tell us about the current marketplace at the quarterback position? and I'm talking about you, Lamar Jackson. It shows you how out of touch the Browns are and how Lamar Jackson is not going to get a bigger contract than the aforementioned quarterback from the Browns, the creepy quarterback, Deshaun Watson, whose contract is fully guaranteed, remains cringeworthy. The Browns able to give him, or should I say that he embezzled $230 million out of Cleveland. So that is what's known as an anomaly. Because if you look at the marketplace here, that is on a tropical island by itself. That contract with Watson, it did not reset the market. What I mean by that is every other quarterback that has signed since then who were in that same grouping of Watson, except they're not accused of being perverts, those guys haven't gotten more money. We have seen multiple massive deals for quarterbacks since Deshaun Watson got his money. And the rest of the NFL, what have they done? They have treated the Browns deal with the massage connoisseur as an outlier. And Russell Wilson, he gets $165 million, great amount of money, third most lucrative contract in NFL history in terms of guaranteed money. It is behind the creepy quarterback Deshaun Watson. It is also behind the little fella, alligator arms Kyler Murray, at $189.5 million. So, again, they've had two big contracts. Neither one of them has gotten all that close in terms of guaranteed money. You're talking about a difference of over $40 million in the Watson versus Murray comparison side by side, and you take $230 and you slice away that, and you're looking at over $60 million between Watson and Wilson. If you are keeping score at home. And that is the contract lowdown in the NFL.